In December last year, here at the UN Geneva, high-level experts discussed the road towards a post-neoliberal world order.
Neoliberalism is associated with rising inequality. Yet, at the global level, the past 30 years of growth and poverty reduction have benefited the many, not the few.
So, Father, it sounds, according to Ms. Gonzalez, neoliberalism is not so bad after all.
With all due respect, Mrs. Gonzalez is very, very wrong on that assumption. We have a little less than 0.2% of the world's population enjoying and having the wealth of over 85% of the world's population. That cannot be benefiting the majority in terms of neoliberalism advancing poverty. We have 65 million refugees worldwide. We've never had it before. We have it under neoliberalism. And neoliberalism produces the guns with which the wars are made, because the profit must come from weapons and from all those things that make life unbearable. But then those who suffer from it are always the poor. Pope John Paul II clearly wrote it down in Centesimus Annus. Neoliberalism is equally as bad as communist orthodoxy and communist systems. Both of them he put on the same levels. Two reasons. They contradict the human person, they contradict the human ethic.
Jeremy Corbyn, member of the British Parliament, concluded that orthodox neoliberalism has failed.
30 years after structural adjustment programs first ravaged so much of the world, and a decade after the financial crash of 2008, the neoliberal orthodoxy that delivered them is breaking down.
It is absolutely correct. Neoliberal orthodoxy has been the greatest catastrophe for humanity in the last 100 years. Neoliberalism is the extreme form of capitalism, which talks about the person being unnecessary, but profit and its maximization being the reason for the economy. Pope John XXIII has, in his encyclical Mater et Magistra, spoken about this, and especially Pope John Paul II in Centesimus Annus, 100 years of Laborem of Rerum Novarum, discusses right forms of economy, and he proposes the social market economy. The social market economy is social, which means it serves people. It is market, which means there is freedom to decide the prices. And it is an economy, which means it is a service. So the social market economy is neither liberalism, nor is it communism, which is central controlled, but it is there an economy that serves people, and the majority of the people.
A human rights basis for addressing these issues, a redefined role of state, and a renewed commitment to international cooperation for development seems to be the only intelligent response for the future we want.
The future we want. So here's the question. Who is the we? Are the Catholics included in the we?
Well, let us talk beyond religion and talk about human citizens of nations, where Catholics are members, Muslims are members, cultural groups are members, the rich, the poor, everybody is a member. A human rights approach to solving people's needs is an agenda to follow, because human rights respects the dignity of the human person. This is what the church, for example, teaches, and tries to advance this dignity and these rights for all. It is, of course, clear that Catholics are included, and we have to be at the forefront, because everything about Christianity is the point of start for even universal understanding of human rights. Because Christ became human, God has taken the position and the nature of the human being, and therefore the human being now looks like God and must be respected, life protected, and also guaranteed the rights of freedom, of expression, of movement, of thought, of conscience, and of being dignified and treated well.
Also in December last year in Buenos Aires, during the 11th session of the Ministerial Conference of the World Trade Organization, the Holy See confirmed its commitment.
Let me close, Mr. Chair, by assuring this conference of the Holy See commitment to strengthening multilateralism and constructively engaging in the discussions in all areas of the work of WTO.
One can safely say that both the Holy See and the panel here at the UN Geneva are pulling on the same rope for a human rights-based multilateral approach that provides a safer framework, especially for weaker and smaller countries.